Hello and welcome to the new series on top 10 extensions on Visual Studio Code or VS Code. Today we're going to see for the HTML tag. I have a simple HTML structure here. So the first extension which we are going to see is auto close tag. So it almost has 3 million download. Let us try to install it. So if I try to type h1, right, normally we type tag like this. Open the angular bracket, type h1, close the angular bracket and type something hello, right? Hello. Okay, so instead of that, with this tag what you can do is just type h1 and press enter. It does insert the angular bracket as well as the closing tag for you. So how simple is this? So it does save you a free fraction of second, right? So the next tag which we have is auto rename tag. It is also from same developer. It has 2.5 million downloads, right? So okay, I have installed it. Let me uninstall it and show you the difference, right? So I have my tag here. In one h1 I have hello, in other h1 I have bye. So if I want to rename the upper h1, I'll select the opening tag, right? I'll delete it. I'll say like h6, but it doesn't rename your closing tag. You have to manually do it. But with this auto rename tag, what you can do is, let me try to show you the difference right now. So we have seen before the extension was installed, and now after the extension is installed. So if I want to rename this second h1 to something called p tag, if I delete the tag, if I say p, you can see both the opening and the closing tag has been renamed, right? So this is about the auto rename tag. And next one which we have is a color highlight, right? So this normally applies to CSS and inline style sheet, right? So imagine I have a attribute called style, right? And I have something called color as red, right? You can see Visual Studio by default, it specifies it shows you the color in red square, right? If we install this extension, right, I have installed it, and let me enable a setting. Okay, I'll give you the description on this setting. I'll make sure this setting is available in the description of this video so that you can check by yourself. So right now if I reload it, right, let me save this. Okay, you can see instead of also highlighting the color code before, it does highlight the text itself by giving a background to the text. If I say gray, right, it does give a color gray. If I say blue, it does change the color to blue or blue violet, right? So this is about the color highlight, and it does apply to CSS also. So the next one is color the tag name. Right now we can see our HTML tags or each and every tag are of the same color. Sometimes if I want to find this, where is h6 opening and closing, if I have indented it, if I have intended the code, the code, like I can see it is in the same line. But imagine there are people like who write code like this, right? And they don't care about where is their opening or closing, right? And normally if I'm working on some other code, so it's a little hard where exactly is this closing, right? So if I install this extension, right, you can see the magic happened right now. So the h6 is colored, right, with a lightish violet color, and P with the yellowish color, right? Each and every tag has been colored right now, as well as the attribute, right? So this is about the color, the tag name. So the next one is something called Debugger for Chrome. So I'll make a complete video series on this. So this is normally a debugger, right? Normally you debug your code in your favorite browser. Mine will be like Chrome, for example. So we do debug our code in Chrome, and we try to fix the error, right? So instead of you leaving the code editor, right, So you can actually debug your code within this code editor if you install this debugger for Chrome, and I'll make a complete video on this. This is officially by Microsoft, so it has almost like 23 million downloads, right? So this is the fifth extension, right? So the next extension which we are going to see is highlight matching tag. Okay, it's highlight matching tag. So this has nearly 900k download. So if, for an example, if I click on this head tag, right, you can see it's getting highlighted. There is some small grayish background, right? Okay, let me try to install a theme here from BestBoss. It's called Cobalt 2. Actually, it's little comfortable for your eyes. Okay, I have installed this extension and it's already activated. So let's go ahead and see this highlight matching tag. Okay, so now if I go here, if I highlight my H1, you can see there is a small grayish background, but it is not visible properly. So if I install this, what it does is it gives a underline below the tag or a border in the bottom of the tag. It applies to almost all the tag. So this is a handy extension which you can use. Actually, this works for a tag which has opening and closing. As we can see here, a meta tag which doesn't have a closing tag. There is, I mean, it's normally a null tag, right, which doesn't have an opening and closing, so it doesn't apply to that. So if you want to see your opening and closing tag, this is extension which will be helpful for you. Okay, so this is about the highlight matching tag. So the next one which we are going to see is HTML tag wrap. So what it does is, imagine I have this tag here. I want to wrap this tag, I mean this content, by this content within another tag. Normally what I do is I cut the content, I say like span, right? I say span. Okay, I don't know why it is not working. Okay, I say span and I type the content, right? Instead of that, let us try to install this extension, and we do have to use the shortcut called Alt W on your Windows or Mac, I mean Ubuntu machine, or Option plus W on your Mac. So we have our data here saying that hello. I just have to highlight the content and press Alt W or Option W on your Mac, and it does insert a p tag, right? And I can rename this p tag to something called span, and in the new version they have added an option to add an attribute, right? If I press space, as you can see, the there was two mouse buttons, right? Cursor icon in the starting and the ending. The ending cursor icon has disappeared and there is only cursor icon in the beginning of the tag. If I want to say style, right, I can say like color. So this is one of the benefit of this extension. Next we are going to see is indent rainbow. So you have an extension called indent rainbow. By default you can see there is a guideline or indent, right, which has a single line which specifies. If my code goes into a nested branch like this, which you can see here, I have given some space, so it gives us some indent, right? So with this extension, if I install it, okay, it's still installing. What does it do is, you can see by default it has set of colors which is already given, right? So I do have my favorite color code for this. So these are the 10 colors for that. Okay, I need to save this. Okay, let me restart the VS Code. Okay, You can see now the color code has been applied for this indent rainbow. In the beginning you can see something lightish, then dark, 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 all the way to black. And if that get expired, right, I mean if the indent goes furthermore, so it will try to apply the same color code again. Okay, so this is with the help of the indent rainbow, so you can change the indentation color. So this is actually very helpful if you have very long nested codes. If I have, imagine if I have a div tag, right, inside the div tag I have a p tag, and if I have a content called hello, and normally if I want to break this, right, if I say hello and bye, I want to show this in a different two lines, right, normally what I do is I insert the br tag like this and I do that, right. So if you want to insert br tag more than 10 times, you just copy paste, right. So we do have an extension called insert br tag, right. It has almost like 6,000 downloads. I'm not sure why it does have a 6,000 downloads. It is one of the best extension for HTML. Key bind which they have is shift plus enter. So this will be common for your Mac, Windows or Linux devices. Let me delete this. Now let us press shift enter. You can see the more you press the shift enter, the more br tag gets inserted into your code. So this is one of the handy extension for adding a br tag into your code, right. So the next extension which we are going to see is called Visual Studio IntelliSense, IntelliCode or IntelliSense. It's an AI powered, so that is it will give you autocomplete codes. Like you can see here, it will give you some auto completions. So this is not only helpful for your HTML, also with your CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, Angular, React, things like that. Next we are going to see live server. So you have written your code and normally to check the output you do have to go back and forth your browser as well as your code editor browser and the code editor. So we do have two extensions actually. One is for a live server which does the same thing, go back and forth, or in handy you can align your window like this, right. So the next one which we have is a live server preview, and this live server it has almost like 5.4 million download, and it does give you a status bar icon, excuse me. So this does work for HTML. If I click on this go live, it starts a local server on a specific port, that is 5500, or you can specify the port by going to the extension command palette and typing setting and going to UI. You can see all the extension which you have installed here, and you can customize it as per your need. Okay, so this is one of the handiest extension to have a live server running. So but you have to go back and forth. What if like we have a live server right next to your text editor, within your text editor? So that is something called live server preview. It almost has 145k downloads. So let's start the server. Like I said, this works only for HTML code. So just type live server preview and it will give you an option here, show live server preview. If I click on this, it will open a local host here with a specific port. Actually we are not seeing the port number and all. So this is one of the handiest tool. So if I say here bye bye, you can see here and save, you can see it's being reloaded live. So in the next video we'll make a top 10 extension for CSS. Also we'll be starting our JavaScript series very soon in the sense within this week or by next week we'll start our JavaScript series. We did start it before, but we have ended it in between, right, due to time issues. So this will be it for today. If you need any help or if you want to know what are the settings which I am using, right, I do have another VS Code installed here. If I go here, JSON, You can see I have my few of my settings available here. If you want me to upload my settings so that you can have a check and where you can make use of it, let me know in the comment section. I'll make a gist out of it and I'll upload it on GitHub. Okay, so I'll be seeing you in the next video. Until then, if you have not subscribed, please do subscribe and click that like button and share this video. Until then, bye bye.